Hello and good morning, and welcome to another episode of Legal Innovation and Technology. Actually, for a change, we are having this online webinar in the morning, and it's because you know our schedules kind of had to match, and the topic is kind of very important today in this digital age. As you have seen, technology has kind of taken over our lives. There is technology in everything that we do from morning till end. And a technological platform as such, one of that has kind of helped revolutionize the litigation or dispute resolution is online dispute resolution. And that is our topic today, where we will kind of try to dwell upon how technology can help us resolve legal dispute settlements in this digital age and sometimes in record time. And what we will discuss some of the key topics today, and I'm just gonna go through it so that our audience can decide the topics for today. Basically, what is online dispute resolution? How we can take advantage of it? What are its benefit, and what are the different types of it? And as we have always seen, whenever we have a technological advantage, there are some challenges with it. And we will also talk about this at the end, how we can tackle some of those. And if you are a person who's really tired of, small claims litigation and want to, the costly court battles, waiting for years for resolutions, or if you're thinking of ways to settle out of court, because honestly, let's face it, it's not a walk in the park. We don't want to go to court. These are expensive and lengthy, and some a lot of times, even when we have a valid legal claim, we just let it go because nobody wants to go through the hassle of going through that legal complications, filing a court, and going to court, engaging a lawyer. And it's really physically, emotionally, financially, it's a stress for a lot of people. So there is a way out of it. There is a faster way out of it. There is a cost effective solution for it. And that is what we will be talking about today: ODR, online dispute resolution, on this special episode of Legal Innovation and Technology webinar series, which is episode 12. So if you are a a business of any sizes, especially if you're operating online, if you're an e-commerce seller, or even a consumer, if you're a professional in the online service or tech industries, just anybody who's seeking a faster and more effective way to resolve disputes online for smaller claims, perhaps this webinar is for you. So those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Barrister 𝐎𝐧𝐥𝐢𝐧𝐞. I'm an advocate of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. I've been practicing for 18 years and have experience in law, technology, and business. And with me, I have a very special guest, a very good friend who has really changed the way people think about legal disputes and legal battles. Namita Shah is here with us. Welcome, Namita. She is the co founder of Presolve 360. It's a legal tech company which specializes in online dispute resolution that solves disputes in a larger scale at record speed time. Namita is a chartered accountant CPA from USA and also a lawyer. She has been recognized among the top 60 women transforming India initiative by the government of India. I am so excited to have Namita with us today so that she can share her experiences in this new technological revolution and its potential to conflict resolution. Namita, welcome, and how are you?
Thank you so much, firstly, for inviting me and for such a kind introduction. And it's great to also, talk about online dispute resolution and talk about it with you. And again, thanks a lot for having me. And I'm always excited to talk about how the landscape of dispute resolution is changing, definitely, not only in India, but even globally. And would definitely share my experience along the way today.
I love the way I love actually your healing story, and the way it goes. I know there is we also hear it when we are going for court litigation. What happened today? Oh, we got another date. What happened today? It's fixed for another date. And there is that saying in Hindi. I remember you guys quote on your website like Tariq pe Tariq. And there is a
Yes,
very popular dialogue from, I think, from a movie from Amitabh Bachchan,
yes. It
right?
was by Sunny Deol in the movie Damini. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, exactly. And that movie, oh my, because I think you should know this. People in Bangladesh are big fans of Bollywood movies. At least I can say that for myself. I'm a very big fan, but a lot of people do watch Hindi movies, and because of the fact that sub this continent, sub Indian continent was all one, a lot of things, as I even told you before, like in terms of culture, food, and
Yes.
the way we live, and whether it's a lot of it is the same. So can you tell us where exactly in India you are located?
Sure, I'm actually in the heart of Bollywood. I'm in Bombay, and
Ooh,
our office is also there, but we operate across India. Yes.
excellent. So I know where to go next time I'm in Mumbai.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
this is actually very true here also. Like I was saying, date. You know what happened? We got another date. Oh, what
Yes.
happened today during court? So, which is why, I mean, sometimes, of course, there are reasons for it, but this has become a common practice amongst these legal battles, that you just go and get a date. And we also even advise our counsels, what am I going to do today? We are not ready. Oh, just go get a date. So this actually is one of the factors that delays justice. And honestly, Namita, what I believe is access to justice delayed is justice denied in a way. There are stories we have heard that a person has died waiting to get justice, um, and their children kind of was fighting the battle of
Yes.
their father. So there are stories like that in India too.
Absolutely. In fact, that also became the foundation of why we started Presolve 360. So I'll just, take a few minutes to talk about this exact instance, because you talked about how legal issues have become legacy issues, passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
something similar happened to us as well. So at Presolve 360, we're three co-founders. There's Bhavin, there's Aman, and there's me. We've known each other for a long time since college, and Bhavin and Aman know each other since school. They were together since nursery. That's how I know Aman as well. I met Bhavin in college. So what happened? We Bhavin and I pursued chartered accountancy, and thereafter did LLB. We did the law graduation degree, and Aman comes from the insurance and management background. And personally and professionally, we all three faced certain disputes and faced what actually happens when you try and resolve it using certain formal mechanisms like litigations. And there was one particular matter, which was Bhavan's father's matter. It was about a business dispute. It was something to do with money recovery, and it reached the Supreme Court. And at that time, it was going on for 28 or 29 years, and it predated my birth. It predated our birth. And Bhavan said, I'm going to the Supreme Court, so why don't you all come along for the experience? So we said, yes, it'll be an interesting experience. Let's go. So we go. And I still remember clearly that courtroom and that bench, and we are sitting there. And the Supreme Court judge in open court tells Bhavan that why don't you accept what's being offered to you? Because your father started this litigation and your child will have to conclude it. And when we heard that in the Supreme Court, I think that's when the proverbial light bulb went off, saying that no, no, this is not a legal issue. We are facing a legacy issue. And this is just a small business dispute. Whether you're a small trader or you're an MNC trying to do something. And when you have to go to court, you know what you're in for. You're in for so much to try and resolve a dispute. In India, it may be time. Internationally, it may be cost. But what happens when there is a dispute on any forum? What happens then? There's too much at loss to try and hope for a resolution, and there have to be better mechanisms to look at these kind of disputes, to look at how to solve them. And I would like to highlight that this is not only the fault of the judiciary. If they're doing the best, it's also as much the responsibility of citizens and of business owners to actually try and look at alternatives before going to court. Specifically in India, which is the world's most litigious country, it's a combined effort between citizens, businesses, judiciary, government, everyone to work together and try and first explore what is known as alternatives, to actually look at them in a more mainstream manner, and then look at litigation and courtrooms as the last resort. The judiciary owes it to the citizens also owe it to the judiciary to look at this approach. But when we try and look at these alternatives, what options do people or businesses have? And to fill that gap, we started Resolve 360.
And that's truly truly inspiring, Namita, because I do know this was a story, but I actually didn't know that all of you were physically present. I thought it was something like, you guys wanted to just solve a problem, but I honestly didn't had no idea that it happened to one of you. So I guess, it you guys can all connect to it, and the fact that all of you were physically present. And I think I see now where this fire comes from. So kudos to you and your founders. And and it is just not that, it is also the fact that every citizen deserves access to justice. It doesn't matter how big or small, it's a right is a right. If you it is the duty of the government, it's their constitutional right to get access to justice. And it should not depend on your background, on your race or your color or your financial capacity. uh, you should have it, it should be available for everyone. And which is why this is so timely, because honestly I think one of the fact is a lot of people are not aware. Number one, I think a problem that they have a legal right or a legal claim, they don't know. Because honestly, like India, Bangladesh is also, we are not as big in terms of geographical location, but we are also heavily populated. And our litigations, like we have litigation spending for almost 30 years. And there's no way to kind of resolve it, and everybody has like a bitter experience, unless, like I said, if you're really loaded, you can hire expensive lawyers. A lot of a lot of people who are not, like I said, who are educated or aware, they go around courts for years, and that's all they do all their life, and spend all their earnings or savings, sometimes even sell their property to continue with the legal litigations. um, so there are we have heard all these, and it is, as legal professionals, it does matter. It does bother me too, that why should getting access to justice be so hard and challenging? There has to be an easier alternative. And that is what we want to talk about today: the new frontier in solving the traditional litigation, which is online dispute resolution. We are calling it ODR, where it has become a transformative alternative of leveraging technology to streamline dispute resolution. So if we're imagining a platform where parties can connect with mediators or arbitrators online, present their cases virtually, and reach settlements efficiently. Is this the essence of ODR in dispute resolution, Namita? And I want to know from you, uh, exactly, so that you are the expert in this, and I want to know from you, what is ODR? Tell our audience. And how exactly Resolve 360's platform works.
Absolutely. No, thanks for that. I'll take a step back and talk about what alternative dispute resolution really means. And we'll go, since the time humanity existed, disputes existed. And since that time itself, diplomacy existed as a way of resolving them. Courtrooms and legal processes and laws came much later. Even today, when a dispute happens, nobody looks at legal books and makes a dispute happen. Disputes happen, and then we turn to legal books, legal processes, and courtrooms. But maybe there is a layer before, where before going to courtrooms, we can explore ways in which these disputes can be resolved without actually formally approaching courts and without converting a dispute into a litigation. And that's exactly what alternative dispute resolution means. These are essentially mechanisms that have been recognized fully. They are recognized by laws locally and even globally as mechanisms with which parties can resolve dispute without approaching formal processes like courtrooms. Now, let me give you, typical examples of what these mechanisms entail, which will cover what we also do at Resolve and what online dispute resolution also is. So, I'll take a very simple example. Let's say I want to buy a shirt from a vendor, and the vendor is quoting 500, and I am saying no, I want it for 300. And the vendor and I both bargain with each other and try to come up with an amount. Let's say we finally settle at 420 rupees. So, in that case, that's a negotiation where essentially it's just the vendor and I who are trying to talk to each other and come up with a particular number that is acceptable to both of us. That is what negotiation is, which is one of the ways in which disputes can be resolved outside of court. And this is very popular. We use it in day to day lives. We use it with our family members, we use it with our colleagues, we use it through school, through college, and every phase of life. We keep negotiating. Now, let's say the vendor and I cannot come up with a particular number to agree upon. So, what next? Now, let's say there is a passerby who explains to the vendor, look, you're getting cash upfront. Why don't you try and look at another number which is acceptable to both? The passerby tells me also, look, this is the only shirt available with this particular vendor. Take it, otherwise, you will not even get it later on, and there's high demand for it. So both of us reflect, and let's say we say, okay, 410 sounds like a good price. Let's agree on that. So what essentially happened is that passerby played the role of a mediator. In mediation, there is a neutral third party who assists the vendor and I to come up with an amicable resolution that both of us agree to. Ultimately, that's also driven by consent of the vendor and I. And the third party, the neutral party, is just assisting both of us to agree on a particular number. Now, let's say that also doesn't happen. Then comes a little more formal process called arbitration. I'm oversimplifying these concepts, but this is just to get the messaging across. Now, let's say there is one person who has a particular authority who listens to the vendor saying that no, the cost of the shirt is very high, I only procure it for x amount, I also have my overheads. I tell my side of the story saying that look, a similar shirt is available at x price and I want it, but this is the price that it should be agreed upon. And then that third party who has that authority gives an outcome saying no, the sale will happen at 405 rupees, which is then binding on that particular vendor and I. So I'm obligated to take the shirt at 405. The vendor is obligated to sell it at 405. This is arbitration. In essence, arbitration is driven by contracts where there is an arbitration clause in the contract between the two parties. And if at all there is a dispute arising out of that contract, then an arbitrator who acts like a private judge of sorts listens to both sides of the story and gives an outcome which is then binding on both the disputing parties. And all of this happens in private setting. This is what arbitration is. I've oversimplified these concepts. Of course, there are various legal nuances across it. But broadly speaking, these are ways in which disputes can be resolved outside of court. This entire gamut of negotiations, mediations, and arbitrations, there could even be a combination amongst these, is known as alternative dispute resolution. Alternative because it is an alternative to going to court. And online dispute resolution is nothing but use of these mechanisms of dispute resolution in an online setting. So it is still the use of mechanisms that have been existent since ages, just that it is being done using technology and using digital communication and digital infrastructure. So it's not novel in the sense of it being a totally new concept. It is just novel in the sense in which these alternative mechanisms have now begun to be offered to people, to make it more accessible, to make it more affordable, to make it more efficient. Let me just take a moment to draw a parallel. Now, assume how the financial services industry works. Earlier, one had to write a check, had to give it to the other party. The check had to then be deposited, and then there would be the transfer. Today, all of this can be done online with the click of a few buttons. But banking does not change as a function. In the same way, ODR or online dispute resolution does not change the principles of justice or the principles of dispute resolution. It just changes the mechanism of how it is offered such that it is more advanced, it is equipped to deal with disputes in the modern day and age, and it is more affordable, it is more accessible, it is more efficient. But this is broadly speaking what online dispute resolution is. And at Resolve 360, that's our objective. That how we can look at disputes and how we can look at resolution of these disputes, making it as easy as ordering something online or as easy as learning something online. Today, when all phases of life have turned online, why can't dispute resolution also be available at the click of a few buttons? For example, this webinar, had we had to meet in person, it would be too many logistics involved. Most likely, this wouldn't happen. Today, this happened at a mutually convenient time, and both of us just clicked one button. If there were a dispute between somebody in Bombay and somebody in Bangladesh, imagine if they had to meet at a common ground and then resolve it. Vis a vis, they could resolve it using a platform just like this with a click of a few buttons. That's what Resolve 360 offers. A platform to administer these types of disputes so that they can be resolved in a far more efficient way using alternative mechanisms like negotiations, mediations, and arbitrations.
Thanks, Namita. I think that was really enlightening, and you are right. Uh, Arbitration and mediation, there are different forms, but it is important to understand first what is actually alternative dispute resolution, and it's a week and where we can apply it, where we have the options. We do understand that sometimes in some legal matters it is not available, but if it is, and if there are ways to exercise it, we should at least be aware, look into it, and kind of analyze it and see how, if this is a perfect fit for your legal matter, and then have an informed decision which way you want to go. Do you want to go alternative dispute resolution that way, or you want to go towards, like, the high road, the litigation towards the court? So at least this information should be available to us from the very beginning. And you did talk about the types of ODR and alternative dispute resolution, and how it can actually benefit. And we will talk a bit more about the benefits in details, like, it's really speedy. It's like, it streamlines the process. And you have said how Resolve 360 works, but we will talk few of the benefits in general. Like, we can all see, if we are using online dispute resolutions, we talked about, it saves time. Let's just face it, it saves time then compared to the traditional litigations, provided, like we discussed, both we agreed, provided that your legal dispute has that option and can be resolved in an alternative dispute resolution, settled that way. Cost effective, come on, let's see that, the cost of appearing in court, the legal fees, it saves money for both the parties. And there is another benefit which I feel like it's accessible. Just the example you gave, like during this webinar, like if we are both in two countries, but we are connecting right now, we are doing this at the click of a button. And it's the same thing with ODR. It You can have access to it 24/7. It removes the geographical barriers, making dispute resolution more convenient. And also, I want to add that it's transparent too. um, of course, there are some other integrities when, when you're using an offline platforms. We all know the certain challenges. We'll talk about it, at the later part, that comes with it. your privacy, your data, and but it's not just for ODR, it's for all online platforms or all technology that we use. So transparency in terms of ODR, the online, is very clear because you have a record. I remember we talked about this blockchain technology, like who's accessing, who's entering the data, who's changing anything. So blockchain, to use of blockchain technology kind of helps us navigate that, making sure that the no bad actors are entering or manipulating data inside our platforms. And let's not forget it, it's also convenient. So we are you just all you need is an internet connection, um, and you're set up it on your own schedule, really. um, but Namita, some few things, you talked about the India, but I want to share some data with you, which kind of will blow your mind in terms of how people here think about it. Basically, I'll take your put up your attention and for the audience about this survey that was done. It's the Justice Needs Survey, which was conducted by the Ministry of Foreign Netherlands, Hill, with a local partner from Bangladesh, BRAC, the Human Rights and Legal Aid Service unit of BRAC in particulars, which kind of indicated in their report a few years ago that 80% of Bangladeshis have experienced one or more legal problem. However, only 51% of the young people take action towards dispute resolution. And only 5% consult a lawyer for legal advice. But the big number for me says that out of 4 out of 5 adults in Bangladesh has faced one or more legal problems. And approximately 31 million people experienced legal problem every year. And around 15 million people do not take any form of any form of action when faced with a legal dispute, uh, for various reasons. Like I said, some of them are not aware, or these people believe that going getting legal help will not make a difference. um, I will it is just a waste of cause, I will not get justice. So a lot of people have the belief that going to litigation, trying to exercise your legal right, it's a waste of time. And they see basically trying to solve a dispute as pointless. There's no point in going on about it. And sometimes, honestly, like we said, the opportunity cost is just way too high. And because like lawyers are expensive, it's not always readily available for everyone. So a lot of times here we see that you know people do not seek legal information or advice, uh, where for various reasons they don't believe that it can help. They don't have time, or they don't know where to look for advice. They don't have enough money, but they tried to obtain it, and they couldn't get answers. So basically believing that you know exercising this right will not help, whereas data is showing 4 out of 5 people have faced legal problems. And approximately 31 people, or maybe this number has increased because the data is a couple of years old. 31 million people experience a legal problem every year. So it is kind of mind boggling to think that so many people are going to be faced by this, and and not do anything, and because of the fact that we have failed to provide them, as legal professionals, show them a way to exercise their legal right, even though they have a valid legal claim perhaps. So what are your thoughts on that,
No. Firstly, thank you, for sharing that data. I think it brings up a lot of interesting points. And I'll also, give you a stat, an unofficial stat in India also. It said that for every seven disputes, only one actually goes to court. So the unmet legal market, as we call it, is far bigger than the met legal market. And we already know the statistics of the met legal market and pendencies. I don't even want to go there. But that is precisely where there is opportunity for alternative dispute resolution and optimal dispute resolution, how I also like to define ODR. Not online dispute resolution, but optimal dispute resolution. Because when there is a dispute, court is a last resort. There's a journey to be taken before. It's just that hand holding in that journey is a little difficult because of lack of options. There are a lot of lawyers available, but how many mediators are available? Or how many arbitrators are available? Or even in law schools, we have subjects and subjects on litigation across different types of disputes. But we have probably one book on ADR. So so that is where there is a clear gap. There is a requirement for sure, there is a gap, but that gap is starting to being filled. And that itself also talks about how it is becoming more and more accepted, and how there's a little more awareness than there was, let's say, 3 years before, especially before COVID. Because when everything goes online, you also start looking at solutions online which you probably weren't very actively before, which also opens doors. And there is tailwind also now for of this optimal dispute resolution mechanism that ODR can actually provide. So it is, as I was saying, it's a joint effort, right from law schools to even students in business, to even lawyers, to even, of course, the judicial framework, but everyone working together to give that alternative, or to give a proper mechanism for these disputes, to be resolved before they can actually go to court, and only as a last resort then to go to court. And when you spoke earlier about types of disputes, yes, I agree, arbitration is limited in the types of disputes it can deal with. That itself is huge in number. But when it comes to mediation, almost all disputes can be resolved by mediation, if not negotiation. So even mediation as a mechanism of dispute resolution is available to everybody. And if I just take a minute to talk about a few years ago when we started Resolve, we started several years ago, and at that time we went for this seminar, an in-person seminar, which was on mediation. And I remember there was somebody sitting next to us, and who was saying that what are they talking about? I thought this was a seminar on meditation. And even if you today search on Google, just write the word mediation and do a Google search, it will show down, did you mean meditation? But I think that is changing. And when you say that for ODR, what you need is an internet connection, I think what you need is an internet connection and a mindset, both. To understand that yes, these can actually provide solutions, and all it takes is for one person to try it once. Because when they do, and when they see the convenience, when they see the effectiveness and outcome, they then become promoters of online dispute resolution, and it spreads by way of word of mouth. And we're at that stage where that is, we're at the cusp of the ODR revolution, so to say. And hopefully when we have a webinar like this again after some time, stats will be in our favor, saying that yes, no, ODR has brought about a solution that was much needed for people.
No, I love this actually. I even told you when we met that, these are the things that we have to promote, even though I know your journey also. And we talked about this, that, to be a trailblazer, to start something that has not been done before, it's not an easy task. But when you believe in the cause, and we want to search your legal community and benefit them, it's going to be a lonely journey, but we both want to do this, because we know it will take time, and but we will get there. So I even told you, like, in terms of acceptability, um, it was hard for people. It was even hard for Resolve 360 to get people to understand its benefits, because, whenever it comes to legal dispute or legal matters, we want to be like, I want to see the lawyer. They don't even want to say anything on the phone. Like, even like a lot of my clients, they're like, I want to meet you in person and talk about my legal matter. And you are right, even though before, a lot before COVID, we wouldn't even go to a doctor, um, to tell us our physical health. But now we're doing video conferencing with doctors, taking medicines and everything. So COVID did give us the push. And when we talk about the different types, which is like mediation assisted ODR, arbitration based ODR, negotiation based ODR, where basically parties are in negotiation based ODR, parties communicate directly and negotiate a settlement using an online platform. Arbitration based ODR, basically, it's one where we involve a neutral third party to make a binding decision on the dispute, and we follow that. And mediation assisted ODR is basically a third neutral party. It facilitates the communication and helps both parties reach a mutually amicable, agreeable solution. Right? These are the three main ones.
Essentially, yes, and of course, then there is a combination, and there are a few others. But broadly speaking, these three are the prominent mechanisms of alternative dispute resolution used globally.
Asked you this before. I'm going to ask you again. So how, because we as lawyers, we have seen, like, legal traditions or legal systems take a long time to change. Historically, we have laws in Bangladesh which are from the 1800s, which are still good law. I'm not joking. There are. And you know people are accustomed or used to doing things a certain way. They don't like change. So would you share, we're also running out of time, so I want to know a little bit on how you had fought, you had the same struggles. I know, like, you kind of had to, so how you overcame these struggles a little bit. I know there's still a long way to go. How you overcame that struggle, and how do you see the rise of online resolution as a powerful tool within the ODR landscape?
I often say this, that we eat challenges for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this mindset shift or this awareness building has been a constant challenge. But the situation that was a few years ago and the situation now, there is a difference. There needs to be a lot more difference, but there definitely is a difference. All we need is somebody to try it once. Once somebody tries it once, then they are a believer in it for the rest of the journey, because of the convenience it brings and because of the access it brings. And just to give that one chance, I think COVID accelerated it as well, because before, we kept on knocking doors, and most of the doors always remained closed. Of course, there were few early adopters, but when COVID happened, that enhanced the time of ODR. The time for ODR would have come either way. It's just that COVID enhanced that journey or speeded it up, where when there's no other alternative, you're pushed to open the door that you earlier may not have wanted to. And that opened doors for ODR. And actually, that became game changing, even at a national level, at least in India, because after that, the acceptance was even amongst the judiciary, the acceptance is now even amongst laws, the acceptance now is even amongst the digital public infrastructure that's happening in India. So let me give you some examples. When it comes to laws, the Mediation Act was passed recently in India, which gave special recognition to online dispute resolution, to online mediations, and to online service providers as well. So that was not that that wasn't allowed to be done before. It's just that here now it is in black and white, which also makes it more acceptable in the minds of people. Secondly, I'll talk about courts. We are empaneled with few different courts in India. Now they have started referring commercial disputes to platforms like Resolve 360 for them to be resolved online via mediation. And believe it or not, they and us both have been happily surprised with the results that we've seen. We've had far higher success rates in mediations than how they were doing mediations traditionally in person via mediators that were empaneled. Of course, the mediators are the same who are empaneled, but now they use this online infrastructure, which enhances the speed and the outcome as well. So that has happened as well, and now more and more disputes come from there as well for mediation. Then I'll talk about the digital public infrastructure, like the securities market. So any retail investor who has any dispute in relation to the securities market, mandatorily those disputes have to be resolved via online dispute resolution, and we are plugged into that ecosystem. That way, there are several other ecosystems also, like this account aggregator, and then there is ONDC, which is for digital commerce across the country. All of them are ODR first and ODR only mechanisms of dispute resolution. So there's acceptance now even at that level, and these are, systems that actually reach not only the metros but reach the length and breadth of the country. So there's acceptance in the minds of citizens also, and of course private businesses have accepted it as well, because digitization is also a part of how they want to start conducting business. And all of this is now coming together to ensure that ODR truly becomes the first alternative to looking at dispute resolution.
So this is great because I think if the instead of individual users, if like an association or a trade body kind of starts using this or mandating it, like we also have a couple of them here, like the SME Foundation, the e-commerce association, and there are several with where they have like thousands of members there. So for an individual to subscribe to this might not be it might be a challenge. And we also have actually a private Bangladesh International Arbitration Center called BIEC, which has its own set of rules. But then again, like I said, these are sometimes you want to do it face to face and go through. You want to know who the background and who's going to be your arbitrator on that. But I guess that makes sense when you have a huge, like the risks are a lot, like the amount at dispute is very high. But for certain cases, for certain matters, which you would have let go of and not pursued at the first place, I think we can start from there at least. And if it goes through a trade body or a trade association, I think that will also give them the confidence that there is some mechanisms. They're not just doing it alone, and they're not having to pay for it alone. And sometimes you do get lost in these platforms, like where to upload document, what information to provide, because I know these platforms, you have to provide your side of the story, you have to submit your documents, your evidences, and then you fix an arbitrator and fix your schedule, and then the other party is being notified, and then you have these virtual dispute resolutions. So not, if it comes through via a trade body, it might be like we can start off with that, and uh, then build the confidence. And how I see now, like we will go on to our last topic, and I want to ask you, when you become a tool that is powerful and that actually helps people. We all know all technology comes with its own risks and challenges, and also advantages, and mostly we have seen always the advantages outweigh the risks and challenges. And that's why, and it's inevitable. We are, Bangladesh itself, we are moving towards digitalization, we're moving towards smart Bangladesh, where every person, citizen, society, economy is all going to be smart, meaning that everything is going to be available to you. All the services are going to be available to you, all the government related services, all the banking related services, all your learnings, everything is going to be available to you through your phone or your smart device. So that's the vision for a smart Bangladesh. So why not, you know, this platform, ODR, optimal dispute resolution, as you want to call it. And with these AI tools, I think it is going to get even better. If AI generated tools are used in ODRs, it will help speed up document analysis, suggest potential settlements. Then, like I said, the privacy and security might be an issue for a lot of people, thinking, okay, I'm submitting my documents, it's going to be somewhere in the cloud. What if it's transferred? The core concept of privacy might be breached. So all these risks, I think, are there but can be mitigated. So I want to ask you, and about particularly, if you see maybe we talked about some of the advantages already, like it's a user friendly platform. We can ensure security, and let's face it, it's also helping the environment. There's no paper. We are saving trees, and this is user friendly. It's efficient, it's fast. um, it's also sustainable and scalable, where you can do high volume of cases at a very short time. But what do you think could be the challenges in this? We know accessibility or acceptability for a lot of people to start using it are thinking benefit, but you said very rightly that we need one person to start using it and talk about its benefit and go from there. I agree. It only takes one person actually to change the entire scene. But what would you kind of say the challenges could be that we can watch out for?
Sure. So, a couple of thoughts. First, when you say that, okay, confidence and how people will start using it, you only mentioned a statistic that said that 51% only go to court. Others don't even want to explore a solution to solve their legal issue. How much is the confidence in the mechanisms available now? From the ones that are not doing anything, we just need them to try it once. So, I think the issue is more around availability rather than confidence. And once we bridge that gap of availability, confidence will automatically start increasing. And of course, anything new takes time to adapt. Facebook didn't have the followers or the users it has in year one that it has now. So yes, it will take time, but its availability that will also enhance the confidence as well. That is
Awareness also, people
yes,
need to know
awareness.
that there
Yes,
is there is something like this available to them. So a lot of
correct.
people don't pursue because they don't know there are
Correct.
other mechanisms, which
Yes,
is the number one barrier for them pursuing. Like, I don't know where to go, I don't know who to ask. And actually, this happens in Bangladesh too. People in the villages, they go to the, usually each village or an area has like a
yes.
uh, I I don't know how you call it in the, but Bangla we call it.
Panchayat, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Somebody who everybody looks up to. They go to him, like, for resolution. We've seen it in movies, so
Yes,
many of them. So they think that person is an institution, and
correct.
they believe in that kind of. We will go to him. He's righteous. He has a lot of wisdom, and he has knowledge, and he will make a fair and just decision for us, and they follow it. Like, they really
Yes,
follow it. So it's again, if it's because, like I said, now awareness is going to be a key. Accessibility will come with it, and
yes,
we both know it will take time, but I think we are both such people that we are aware, but we want to start all these things because we believe that it will help people in the long run.
okay. I think there is some network issue. I'll just check.
Hi, are
Right,
you there?
back. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
just
there
one
was
second.
electricity. We've been having this. Sorry, I just connected through
No, no,
my.
that's fine.
So, like I said, we just
Yes,
need one person to kind of believe in it. But other than that, we know
yes,
it's going to be a journey, but it's been a good, successful journey. I guess when you see, I saw it that, when courts refer, matters to you, that must have been a great feeling that, you
yes,
guys are doing something right. You guys are heading in
yes.
the right direction. So,
And
any other challenges that
yes,
you.
I'll talk about a few challenges. People often think that confidentiality is an issue. That how do I see, especially in mediation, that how do I ensure it's confidential? So I'll give you an example. Now, if a mediation was happening in person, and I would carry a pen in my bag, nobody would stop me. But what if that pen was actually a recording device? So when it comes to confidentiality, it is more mindset rather than tools that you're using. If I have a malicious mindset, I can do the same thing in person as I can do online. So it is not that online enhances risk to confidentiality. It's equal. The risk remains equal. But that's where platforms, its rules, and explaining them to parties comes into the picture. And that's where an institutional structure helps, that where parties are explained, about confidentiality, about consequences of breaching confidentiality, and aspects around it. So I think there are challenges, but those challenges are not enhanced or different from challenges that happen in physical world. It's just that we see it in a highlighted fashion because it's probably new. Let me give you another example. People talk about security online and about data, and about, oh, my data will not be private. But most of us use social media today, and most social media account details have been leaked. But did we stop using them? Or we use net banking? Most banks have had a cyber attack at least once in the past 5 years. But we use net banking. So why are we holding online dispute resolution in different light? Risk exists, but risks exist in different formats even in the physical world. you know it's also on us, on the steps that we take to protect ourselves. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you had a house and you had certain precious belongings, when you're leaving the house you will lock it. But we don't take effort to even see whether our wi-fi is secure or no, and then we say our data was leaked. So then who is responsible? Is online dispute resolution responsible, or the bank responsible, or it's equally the person using it who is responsible? So we have to also understand to take reasonable care to ensure that we're not using public wi-fi, that we are using at least a particular security standard when we connect to the internet, and these kind of things. But those risks exist. I mean, not being cynical, but just to compare, there are road accidents, but do we stop traveling in cars? No, right? We just take cautious effort. So, in the same way, even in online dispute resolution, we be cautious, but the benefits far outweigh these risks or challenges. And over time, we'll find better mechanisms to deal with these challenges also. But challenges remain part of our lives across. Then, why hold dispute resolution in different light? There are challenges, yes, but there are also benefits, and we look at how we can maximize these benefits.
You are right, Namita. These are all, I think, the whatever you mentioned. It's a more generally applicable to every uh, online platform or technology that we use. It's applicable for everyone. Uh, which I would, if I can add, one of the common ones are. Not just, again, not just applicable for ODR, but for every single day, is the digital divide. Not everyone, still now, not everyone has access to technology. That's a fact. And not everyone has that digital literacy which is required, like, to do this online dispute resolutions. That we have to accept that not everyone has it.
So,
There's still a certain uh, part of the population, but we need to work on that. That has nothing to do with the fact that ODR is good or bad. That has nothing to do with the fact. But that is the fact remains that not everybody has access to technology yet, and not the digital literacy that is required to use anything, or any even net banking. Not everybody has that. I know a lot of people. My mother is still a very outdated person. See, she will never use net banking. She has never used it. We tried to convince her, but hasn't happened. I don't think it's going to happen. So there are technical glitches can happen, but then it can happen for anything. Interconnect connectivity, I just faced one during our webinar. So that can happen to anyone, not just in the ODR. And sometimes what I've seen is, like I said, it is we can start by saying, starting with online small claims. But I don't know if we are going for international disputes in different jurisdictions. That might be a bit more complex, because enforceability might be a challenge. But that is something I think we can look into in the future, is what I wanted to add. That if there are disputes, like within India, within Bangladesh, because laws are different. um, regulations are different, so there's no transfer of anything anywhere. But in the future, as it will grow, um, like, if we are having certain, Bangladesh and India were neighboring countries, we do a lot of trade between us all the time. So if there was a dispute, and if there was a way to do it online, because traveling, usually we put Singapore as a form, a common factor, like, or England and Wales or Geneva. So there are unilateral rules of arbitration that people kind of fall onto during these international arbitrations. But I actually don't want to bring those in this picture right now, because I feel like we are still, you know we have time to think about that. Let's go back and help those people, and tap that number of population which are not actually even exercising their right or getting legal advice, or thinking that they, if they have a dispute, they can have a resolution and they have a way other than going to court. That is going to be my message. And I
So I
think,
will take a yeah, I will
yeah,
take a step back to add that you mentioned digital divide. Let me tell you one thing, that more people globally and even in our countries have access to technology than they have access to legal aid or access to lawyers.
true.
So what is more easily available, a phone or a courtroom or a lawyer? I think we all know the answer. So the divide is more in a mindset than in reality, because we compare it to then access to legal services and the cost of access to that legal services, and that's the gap that ODR can bridge very easily. And of course, ODR is meant for that. It's also equally meant for international disputes also, and the time is not far that both will happen via
Yeah,
online infrastructure.
agree,
Yeah.
agree. But why I was saying that, because having a smartphone in your hand with internet, um, it's mostly social media. So the fact that the a lot of
Yes,
people like
mindset. Yes.
still don't understand that
Yes.
there's a lot more
Yes.
you can do,
Yes.
with internet and a smartphone, other than TikTok, social media, or.
Absolutely.
But people are moving towards that. Like I said, we have f-commerce is in the boom, e-commerce is on the boom. So it is going to get there, and I think
Yes.
we are almost running out of time, and
Yes.
I am going to say thank you for your time. And it is, in this digital age, when technology offers certain advantages, and ODR is definitely one of them, in terms of, like, saving cost, time, and convenience. Whatever challenges of digital access or technical issues or know-how, enforceability, they can all be addressed. But I believe, strongly believe, that ODR will evolve, and it will become a potential part of our life, and it will be a tool that will revolutionize the way we resolve legal disputes in the future, moving forward. And with that, I want to end this session. And if you have any last comments, Namita, I want to give the floor to you again. I am so glad that we did this. I know we've been in touch for so long, but I'm so glad that we did this, because this had to be kind of done. This message needed to kind of be go abroad, go out, and its benefits should be, because everything comes with some costs and challenges, but we just need to be
Yes.
smart about it.
Yes. No, thank you so much for having me, and to get an audience across countries for talking about online dispute resolution. And I was so thrilled to also know about Smart Bangladesh. I did not know of that project, but so happy to know. And there's just so much more to be done, and always happy to
So much.
talk about it and continue our discussions and actually take it across the length and breadth, not just of India and Bangladesh, but even globally.
It is a very fascinating journey that Bangladesh is going through. And we have a very good close connection with India, because a lot of, I told you, a lot of our laws are similar. um, our economic dynamics and cultural, in terms of
Yeah.
food, a lot of it is similar. So even our arbitration act, I remember, I told you, like, I it is something that we have kind of worked on from seeing the Indian Arbitration Act. So we do follow a lot of how your legal mechanism and the judiciary works. So if it is being acceptable there, I don't see it being too far uh, for us to get it on board. So thank you to you and everybody at Presolve 360 for the amazing job that you're doing for helping people who thought they had no legal recourse get that help that they needed. And once again, have a great day, and we will keep in touch. This is just the beginning, I'm telling you.
Yes, I look forward to it, and thank you again for having me.
No problem. Okay, bye everyone, and thanks, Namita.
Thank you.